Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope we have been affirming that hope in the God who is able to keep his promises to us. Remember, we concluded our last conversation with Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23, the B part. Today, our focus is on faith. How do we have faith for all times? And what is that connection, that element between hope and faith? Well, in the B part of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23, we are reminded that we should keep affirming that hope because we can trust God to keep his promises. So the element that connects faith and hope is trust. A lot of people may say, I don't have faith in anything. But I have found out in my conversations with people over the years and in carrying out the work of the ministry and just interacting with people, it's really easier to have faith than not to have faith at all. Now, for instance, we get on a plane. I love traveling, but I do not like the process of traveling. And I know a lot of you might relate to that. How are you sure that the pilot knows what he's doing? How are you sure the plane will get you to your destination? And even when you have that turbulence, I've experienced it like 3 times in all the years I've been traveling. And you can make up your mind, I'm never ever going to travel on a plane again, and the next time you're on the plane. That requires some kind of faith in the pilot, in the engineers who made the plane, And when you look at the blue, beautiful sky, if you are that person that connects with nature, you know that there is someone bigger, someone who created this masterpiece of creation that we all enjoy. So faith is simply having complete confidence or trust in someone or in something. And our focus on faith today is on God because he loves us so much. He created us and he created this beautiful world for us to enjoy and to really appreciate one another so that we can relate with one another and help each other on our journey of life and faith. So faith is that integral component of life that we all need to have that stability, that anchor to navigate through life. When we go out driving, we encounter other drivers on the road. How are we sure that the other drivers know what they're doing? How are we sure they will stay on their lane? It requires a certain kind of faith. How are you sure when you go to a restaurant and you're not going behind to see what the chef is cooking? How are you sure that what you order for is what you get? How are you sure that they're cooking the meals the right way so that you don't get sick? It requires a certain kind of faith. When we go to the doctor, we expect them to know what they're doing. It requires a certain kind of faith when they prescribe that medication. Now, holding all this together is a God who is bigger, who is greater, whose love encompasses everything. So we can put our faith in a God that is reliable, dependable, and faithful. because he is who he is. He does not change. He is not too busy to listen to our cry for help. He's not too busy to listen to us. You know, sometimes when we're trying to call up a friend, and sometimes that cell phone can be busy. But it's so interesting to know that God is never busy. In this vast, big universe, he has time for everyone. He does not discriminate. He wants us to come to him just as we are, with our needs, with our cry for help. And he just wants us to depend on him. So a lot of times, a lot of people just go through life thinking they have it all together until something happens and they realize that there is someone greater and bigger that they should call upon or look up to. So the truth is, we all have some amount of faith. It depends on what we're looking at. Some people have faith in institutions. They have faith in the system. But all this can fail. When you talk about hope, remember we talked about our hopes being dashed. It's really interesting when people who say they don't have faith are caught up in circumstances, and the next thing you hear them calling God or Jesus. I've experienced that firsthand. I remember many years ago I was in an aircraft and there was a terrible turbulence. It was supposed to be a trip that should have taken about an hour and a half, and it ended up taking 3 hours on the air. We were just descending and losing control and all. And there was a lady sitting beside me who had a baby. And I recall just praying and saying, Lord, just have mercy on this little baby. It's an innocent child. Like I said the last time, I love kids. And the baby was asleep all through. That for me was a miracle, because the mother didn't have to cope with a crying baby. And everybody was praying, but we had a lot of people calling God, calling Jesus. And at the end of the day, that faith in God carried us through. It could have turned out a different way, but thank God it didn't. So what I'm trying to say is, most times we shouldn't wait for things to happen in our lives before we cultivate that relationship, where we can have that anchor in knowing that we have a God who we can always hold on to, who we can always trust. Faith is like a seed. It grows. When you plant a seed, you water it, you nurture it, you expect it to grow. It has been raining in the last couple of days, and thank God for that, because we all need it, not just the farmers. And somebody plants corn or somebody plants a seed, a farmer, and he waters it. We have so many parables in the Bible that talks about, using the analogy of the seed. And it's watered, it's nurtured, and it grows, and it becomes very fruitful. So it doesn't matter how little our faith is. As long as we have some amount of trust in God, that faith can grow. Even when the outcome of what we are hoping doesn't happen the way we expect it to be, it will still grow. Every test, everything in life will be tested. So every test in life is an opportunity for us to deepen our faith, deepen our trust in God. Remember, without having trust in God, we can't have faith in God. Faith is not determined by how we feel. Faith is believing. Faith is trusting. trusting in God that He is faithful, He is dependable, He is reliable to do that which we're hoping for, which we're praying for, which we're expecting, which we're trusting Him for. So that is what faith is all about. And a little faith is more than enough. A little trust is more than enough, because the more we trust Him, the more we grow in trust. The more we plant that seed of faith in our hearts, the more it gets deeply rooted in our lives. So I just want to encourage us to keep on believing, to keep on hoping, to keep on trusting, because faithful is He that has promised. And we have a God who really loves us. We have a God who will never leave or forsake us. When nobody is there, He's there. And He's that friend that sticks closer than a brother. He really, really wants to be involved in our lives. All we need to do is to just trust Him a little bit more, hope for the best outcome. And even when that doesn't happen, we know that it's not because He loves us less, but He will always carry us through the good times and the bad times, because the faith that is in our heart is a faith that grows, and it's a faith that is for all times. So you have a blessed week, and the Lord keep you, and let's keep our hopes alive. Let's keep trusting in the Lord, and let's keep on building our faith in Him, because it's easier to have faith in God than not to have faith at all. The Lord bless and keep you.